Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Unmask Yourself topic video. The topic we're going to discuss today is jealousy. We'll go over what it is, why we experience it, how it can very quickly ruin relationships, and what you can do to start overcoming your destructive jealous patterns. Before we dive in, I'll quickly explain envy in contrast to jealousy, as they commonly get used as being the same thing. Envy is the thoughts and feelings experienced when somebody desires to have a quality, possession, or other desirable thing that belongs to another person. Whereas jealousy refers to the thoughts and feelings experienced through fear of losing something to someone else, such as a partner, friend, or promotion. Because relationships are the most common area that people are faced with jealousy, romantic jealousy will be the type that I'll focus on in this video. In a relationship, there can be a lot of situations that bring people to experience feelings of jealousy. This happens in response to anything that makes you feel as though your relationship is threatened. But it's important to recognize that jealousy isn't something someone else can make you feel. It's something that you feel in response to a combination of any of the four following things. 1. Low self-esteem. Self-esteem is the manner in which we evaluate ourselves. When we struggle with low self-esteem, we struggle to accept or even see most of our positive characteristics. So as you can imagine, if you're unable to accept and see your own strengths, you'll be in a constant battle in your head, struggling to believe that anyone else would either. Which leads us to the next one. 2. Insecurities and inadequacy. This is as a result of feeling like or knowing that you don't meet the standard that the relationship requires. This, as I just mentioned, can come from low self-esteem and thinking you're not good enough for the other person or the relationship. Or it can come from knowing that you don't put in the effort that you should to maintain a strong and healthy relationship. 3. Possession and obsession. This is when you see your partner as a possession that you're in control of and nobody else has access to without your consent or supervision. This coupled with obsession, which is when you find yourself constantly thinking that they or someone else is trying to challenge this, and this makes you feel betrayed, vulnerable, and threatened. 4. Dependency and reliance. This is when you put a large portion of the running and functionality of your life onto your partner and have become dependent or reliant on them. This can be physical, financial, or emotional, and the thought of something or someone interfering with that terrifies you and threatens your current way of life. The level in which these four things are experienced is dependent on your current level of attachment to each of them. How you choose to respond as a result comes from your current ability to manage your thoughts and feelings. Now, with all this being said, all of this can be amplified if you're in a relationship where your partner has previously been unfaithful or untrustworthy. This is something that you'll need to work on together and accept that it'll take some time to overcome, as time, communication, and consistency are the only ways to really build and develop trust again. If you feel as though you'll be unable to move past the distrust, then you'll need to make a decision on whether staying in the relationship is the right thing for you or not. But now let's talk about jealousy in a situation where your partner is completely faithful, and your jealousy stems from factors external from your current relationship. This usually comes from your own past experience, or experiences of people close to you. You often draw on these experiences to create the belief that all people are untrustworthy. This kind of belief, as you can imagine, is pretty toxic to a healthy and developing relationship. Here are a few jealous traits to look out for that can quickly ruin a relationship and make it a very unhappy situation to be in. 1. Seclusion. This is when you constantly just want all of your partner's time for yourself and don't want them in social situations that trigger your jealousy. 2. Monitoring. This is when you need to hear from your partner on a regular basis when you're not together and need to know who they're messaging or talking to if they're using their phone. 3. Interrogation. This is when you constantly ask for and need a detailed account of your partner's day, then overthink it and probe to find flaws in their story. 4. Accusations. This is when you constantly bring your partner's moves, personality traits, and interactions into question and make accusations about their intentions. 5. Control. This is when you start telling your partner what they can and can't do to suit you and your level of insecurity, even at the expense of their happiness. And 6. Retaliation. This is when you do something to match what you think your partner has done to you, to make them feel how you have felt. Being secluded from your friends, being constantly checked up on, being questioned about your every move, being accused of things you haven't done, being told what you can and can't do, and having your partner go out of their way to make you feel like crap so that they feel better about their own thoughts and feelings. Doesn't sound like the kind of relationship that somebody's going to want to stick around for. So with that being said, given that jealousy is a fear-based response that comes from the fear of losing your partner, Why would you then intentionally want to create an environment that could cause that fear to become a reality as a result of your own actions? I think it's safe to say that nobody would want that. So if you're somebody struggling with jealousy and you'd like to work on removing the negativity that it's creating in your relationship, then start with these 5 steps. 1. Take ownership of your jealousy. The first step in working on anything is owning and taking full responsibility for yourself and your actions. Write down all of the things that you do in response to jealousy, and write down how you think you would make your partner feel as a result of them. 2. Communicate this with your partner. After you have taken responsibility for it, it's important to let your partner know where you're at. Let them know what you've come to realise and how you can now see for yourself how it's affecting the relationship. Ask them how your behaviours make them feel, and be open and receptive to their response. 3. Address the behaviours. The process of overcoming jealousy isn't going to be an overnight fix. So to avoid causing more damage to your relationship during this time, you need to set yourself rules on how you're going to respond in situations that cause you to feel jealous. This would be another step that would be beneficial to include your partner in. But the main thing to focus on is to communicate how you're feeling clearly with your partner, without accusation, blame, or expectation. 4. Find the cause. Now that you've established that it needs to be worked on, you now need to start uncovering where it all stems from. This is the bit that's going to take some time and commitment. Working on your self-esteem, uncovering your insecurities and fears, and working through it all is going to be challenging and take some effort. With all things like this, I always recommend seeking the help of a qualified professional to help educate and support you through this process in the most effective way possible. 5. Be you. Your partner is obviously with you for a reason. People don't just magically end up together. Be the person they fell in love with, and don't let your fears and behaviours take away from that and ruin who you are. Now, for those of you that are currently struggling to cope with a partner that's regularly showing signs of jealousy, my advice to you is to communicate it with them at a time that's calm and not threatening. Most people wait for it to be an issue or an argument before they bring things up. But in situations like that, people's guards are up, and it's hard for them to take on what you have to say. When you sit down to discuss it, let them know where you're at with everything, and let them know how their behaviours are making you feel. Then, as a couple, discuss how you're going to get through this and come out the other side stronger. For those of you out there that are single but still know that you suffer from jealous traits, now is a perfect time to work on yourself, to make sure you don't carry those destructive behaviours into your next relationship. That's it for today's video. As I'm sure you've probably just felt, jealousy is a tough behaviour to address. But what's worse than that is continuing to let these behaviours ruin your life and relationships. As always, if this video helps you and you feel it can help others too, please like, share and post a comment below and let me know your thoughts. Thank you all for watching and continuing to unmask yourself. Much love.